Now, before we hurt any wizard mains' feelings, animated D&D books are finally here. 80 plus pages of content designed with your favorite shows in mind. The art is beautiful, and everything inside was designed by yours truly. Check it out at blainsimple.com or use the link down below. Thanks a ton everyone, and let's jump right back into the video. When choosing a spellcaster to play in D&D, Wizard sticks out like a sore thumb just by the classic, well-known name alone. It pulls you in by seeming like the all-encompassing ultimate spellcaster. And in some ways that's true, but the longer you crawl through this class's leveling path, the more you'll wish you were any other spellcaster instead. Now, utility is the prime focus of the Wizard, sacrificing damage for the sake of flexibility both in and out of combat. It's a fiendish pact though, and not in the Warlock kind of way. If you read the fine print of the Wizard's features, you'll see for yourself that they're a completely different kind of evil. Okay, but first let's just get the joke out of the room. Wizard gets a D6 for a hit dice! Pretty sure it was lower in older editions, so if anything this is an upgrade, but considering base 5e allows monsters to crit, there's a 5% chance every time you're attacked that you'll immediately die. Does the enemy have advantage? Well, make that around 10%. And if for some reason you ignored your constitution modifier, certain attacks will always one-shot you if they connect. Dead meme aside, let's get into some actual Wizard features. Right at the beginning, you can regain some spent up magical ammo during a short rest to refill your proverbial spell cannon. But you're only going to take a short rest because you want to refill spell slots, or were immediately knocked out during the last battle and need some HP. The chances of both being the case are slim to none, so forcing your party to rest just for your sake is always a waste of time. When it comes to what spells you know though, you can scribble down magical scrolls you find throughout the game and add them to your nerd book. This is the flexibility that makes Wizards stand out from other spellcasters. But whoops, Wizards of the Coast accidentally gave your DM the humble responsibility to add spell scrolls into their own campaigns. And knowing most homebrew sessions won't be the case at all. No hate on my best friend and loyal DM Davy Chappie, but even in the Magical Spellcaster Academy of Strixhaven, none of our characters have laid eyes on a spell scroll for the past 15 sessions. So keep your eyes peeled on DMs unaware of just how badly they're about to neuter you just by ignoring your intense lust for these inky pieces of parchment. Not only that, but all your years worth of studying spells and adding them into your nerd book could all be ruined if a sadistic DM finds it funny to steal the thing from you, or worse, destroy it. Unlike every other spellcaster who keeps their magic safe in their head, kept up with some god, or borrowed by Cthulhu, everything that makes you special sits between two leatherback covers. The best thing you can do is to never allude to the fact that you even have a spell book, just so your DM can't perceive your Achilles heel and get any funny ideas. Which, considering you can't let your DM know about your spell book, means you've ruined your chances of ever getting to copy a spell scroll into it. And now you're right back where you started with nothing unique to your name. Not only that, but do you know how expensive being a wizard is? Copying spells costs 50 gold per level. Some parties dream of having expensible income like that. And don't get me started on the cost for duplicating your spellbook. All of this in mind makes Wizard one of the only classes that's prime utility stems from gold. A mechanic that D&D normally always shies away from due to how campaign-specific your prerequisite wealth needs to be to even consider using. Even if your party has money, it always feels like a selfish move to take the group funding for your own personal needs. I'm sure we've all been there when the DM puts a shiny set of expensive plate mail in the blacksmith shop for the fighter to drool over. Alright, now that the most crucial aspect of the Wizard was destroyed with facts and logic, we can jump into arcane traditions. Wizards interested in a particular concept of magic eventually specialize into a tradition that relates to that field. Normally that winds up being you learning how to create magical effects that are just altered versions of other spells, or nothing because the feature only works in specific campaigns. Bladesinger, the tradition that you could bet would be restricted to elves if it didn't come out from the newer Tasha's rulebook. Racial inclusivity and all that, sure, but I'm still not a fan of dwarves getting Battle Rager Barbarian all to themselves. Regardless, Bladesinger is just for turning yourself into a mediocre martial character as a last-ditch attempt to escape the wizard class before it's too late. Chronergy is for if you want to be the literal embodiment of the words, actually, going first with the sole intent to deny enemies the chance to do anything, as your DM sits there and wonders if they can say a single sentence before you interrupt them by spewing out what your class features do for the 80th time. Abjuration is for wizards who find joy in spamming the most boring spells to ever exist. Conjuration for spawning in worthless items and teleporting useless distances. Divination for players hoping for every enemy to either be invisible or on the ethereal plane. Too bad they couldn't use their special third eye to perceive that that was never going to happen. Enchantment is for gimmicky weirdos that just want to stunlock their enemies and do nothing else productive for the rest of the game. Evocation encompasses nearly 90% of everyone who plays the class for some reason. reason. As if aiming your spell's AoE properly, the only stimulating thing a wizard gets to do, is so complex that you need to rely on some instant safety pocket handicap. Then bigger damage numbers just appear out of nowhere because wizards are too complicated, so let's not get too creative with subclass abilities. Graviturgy forces your dungeon master to come up with a ruling on how doubling the weight of an object will impact the fantasy world's physics engine, which could make or break your entire character concept depending on the outcome. Illusion, the school that wargamer DMs will tear through at a moment's notice when they realize your main methods to fight are all imaginary 3D drawings, killing you off ungracefully as enemies run straight through everything you create until level 14, where some of the stuff you design is actually real. Good luck surviving that long, though. Necromancy, for wizards embracing the embodiment of toxicity, getting angry both in and out of character about people stealing all of their kills. Then creating dozens of undead minions, which always turn combats into painful slogs. Scribes, for super nerds that somehow manage to finally wrap their heads around how to play a wizard only to jump into a tradition nearly twice as complicated as the class itself. Getting no use out of their magic quill due to all the spellbook problems discussed before, and activating features that steal spells straight from your list, turning you into a cantrip cannon for the next few sessions. Transmuters are players who couldn't make up their mind on what gameplay element they wanted to focus on, and wound up with a tradition that's composed of 4 other classes worth of worse abilities. And War also encourages you to become a cantrip cannon to maintain your magic shields, keep up concentration on spells that have already outlived their purpose, and shut down enemy spellcasters that won't exist. This back and forth between a new mediocre subclass feature and ability score improvement continues until level 18, where you finally get a new defining feature from the wizard class itself. Spell Mastery turns 2 of your slightly higher level spells into cantrips. Like a mother coaxing her child to eat their greens, D&D is trying to remind you to cast lower level magic. That, on occasion, can be worse than if you just spammed your cantrips at higher levels. And 20th level lets you throw an extra fireball and lightning bolt out for free. Except, like, you have 22 spell slots you could use instead, so like, why are either of these features considered character defining for a wizard? Just use a spell slot. It's not like you're scarce on those this late into the game. Yeah, so the main focus for wizards comes from their massive spell lists. In a sense, you are the list of spells you wind up preparing. But your immensely underwhelming subclass, coupled with needless gold limitations and the ability to lose all of your relevancy at the toss of a book, makes wizards terrible overall. Sure, you may feel like a super cool spell slinger on the surface, but deep down, the rules are doing everything they can to overcomplicate your life and run you into debt every step of the way. Also, hey look, this video is exactly 101 frames long. Or should I say, Wizard 101? Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to stay notified when the next one drops, and comment down below which class I should murder next. I'll take whichever replies I see get the most likes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.